I have always been fascinated with how we can use light to learn new things. I think if you were to ask anyone, hey, would you like to work in a lab and shoot lasers at stuff every single day? They would probably say yes. I'm Matthew Kessinger. I'm a 2022 Arnold and Mabel Beckman Foundation Postdoctoral Fellow in the Chemical Sciences, and I like to shoot lasers at molecules. So what I do day to day is I come into lab, I take my research samples, and I use laser spectroscopy to study kinetics and mechanisms related to a very important class of reactions called proton-coupled electron transfers. These are classes of reactions that are found all throughout natural systems that allow plants to convert carbon dioxide and water into chemical fuels. And what we're interested in is using this class of reactions to accomplish a goal called artificial photosynthesis, where we utilize carbon dioxide and water together to make a chemical fuel that could go into a car or a generator from basically renewable energy sources or clean alternative energy sources. I grew up in Princeton, West Virginia. It's this small little hub town, essentially, that's between two major interstates. And my grandfather was a coal miner. And so I always had stories from him growing up about working in the coal mines and things of that nature. And I've seen a lot of the really deleterious effects that sort of energy economy has wreaked on our land, essentially. And so as I kind of developed a knack for chemistry, I realized I really wanted a role doing alternative energy research. We have a lot of really good solutions already for solar energy research, and I instead realized that we need a way to actually store that energy. Back in 1940, the cost of the instrumentation, the equipment required to measure what wavelengths of light a molecule absorbed is about $3,000. That's incredibly expensive, especially if you were to convert that to today's money. Dr. Beckman saw this and he said, hold on, we can do this better. So he developed a spectrophotometer, which is basically just a very quick and easy way to measure the absorbance of a sample. And so he commercialized it, he mass produced it, and it's been referred to a lot of times in interviews as the Model T of scientific instrumentation. Like, it has had a profound impact on our ability to advance scientific research because it took something that was very cost inefficient, very difficult to do, not very reproducible, and made it quick, easy, cheap, and easy to reproduce. And so while the instrumentation, the equipment, it's probably advanced way past what Dr. Beckman could have ever dreamed of during his time, we're still using those same principles and basically the foundation that he laid for the scientific community to make these advances almost 100 years later. And it's going to continue 100 years after this and 100 years after that. That's how impactful his foundation has been for us as scientists. When I first found out about the Arnold O. Beckman Postdoctoral Fellowship, it was just coming around like midway through my second year as a postdoc here at UNC. And one of my good friends, Alexandra Badar, who also won the fellowship, she sent me an email and said, hey, this just came out, we should apply for it together. Really, it was the first time in my life it kind of forced me to think about what would an independent research project look like if I got to build it from the ground up. And that was really cool. We received an email, and I remember it very clearly. I can't repeat the things I said, but what I can tell you is that everyone in lab knew I had won. Just overwhelming sense of, honestly, success and accomplishment. It's not a lot of times you get to feel satisfied with your work as a scientist, but this one was different. This was actually a moment to sit down and say, wow, I have a project idea that's good enough that they actually want to fund it. That's amazing. That's incredible. And to build this project that I wasn't just interested in, but when I was like really truly kind of passionate about, something that really resonated with me and my interests and the things that I really kind of call me to science in the first place. And then to be able to do that by the support of the Arnold and Mabel Beckman Foundation has been really incredible. What we're really trying to do at the heart of this is find ways to develop more efficient catalysts. And what we're really seeking to do is to be able to control the mechanism or the pathway these catalysts operate through. And so in what we call a stepwise mechanism, where you move an electron and a proton separately in independent steps, you generate this intermediate that's very high energy. And what we would like to do is to be able to create low energy intermediates which don't require as much of an energetic input to do the reaction. And so if you can do things with less energy, you can do them for a lower cost. Eventually, what we want to do is decrease the cost of these solar fuels to the point where they're actually competitive with more traditional energy sources like fossil fuels, gasoline. And so that's really what we're at the groundwork of. We're not going to develop the next great catalyst, right? I mean, that's for someone 10, 20, 30 years down the line. What we're hoping we can do is lay the groundwork that will allow those scientists to accomplish that. What the Arnold and Mabel Beckman Foundation's fellowship really allows us to do is to have the freedom to pursue these ideas that might be high risk, high reward. And so I think having that freedom to really pursue the high risk areas of research, the stuff that we don't know if it's going to work. We can't tell you if it's going to work. That's why we call it research, right? But we're going to find out, and we're going to do a thorough job of it and make sure that we get something useful out of it no matter what. That's what the foundation support really allows us to do.